we have so many big news stories going on. President Trump is starting to surge in the state of Virginia. To help me go through today's biggest news stories, I have Hung Cao, who is running for U.S. Senate in Virginia. Hung, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Stephen.
So let me give some background. You are running against Tim Kaine, kind of an unpopular senator. He ran for vice president with Hillary Clinton. I don't know that he did any favors for her or the state of Virginia. You're also a retired Navy captain. You've served our country with honor. You're a father and a husband and an all-around great guy. I wanted to get your thoughts on, I see in the news that Virginia is flipping red and that Donald Trump is gaining more and more traction that would pick up 14 electoral votes. A few years ago, Virginia elected Glenn Youngkin, a Republican governor. Why do you think Virginia is suddenly leaning more conservative, and why do you think Donald Trump is gaining support there?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think that Virginia has always been very, very red. It's just when people don't have enough, how do I say, they don't want to come out and vote because they're not excited about a candidate, then that's where the Democrats will overwhelm. They'll come out and vote no matter who it is, right? I mean, they try to vote for this woman who had her own porn site. She was having sex on the air, with her husband, and she almost won the state Senate race. Like it's just ridiculous. Now, for Republicans, we have to be excited about, a candidate. So 2010, going back to 2020, President Trump lost Virginia by 10 points. Then in 2021, like you said, Governor Youngkin, the Lieutenant Governor Winston Sears, and the Attorney General Jason Miyares, 3 statewide elections were won in Virginia. Then in 2022, I actually ran for U.S. Congress and I lost, but I moved Northern Virginia, the 10th district, which includes Loudoun County. You remember that's where they were attacking the parents. The school board was. They were actually hiring hackers that would go into their search engines to redirect their search engines in case they're asking about CRT. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, I feel like I'm in East Germany or something like that. Anyways, I didn't win, but I took it from a Biden plus 19 down to 6 points. But if you look statewide, about 51% of Democrats came out to vote and 49% of Republicans did. So, that's kind of even there. And then you look then at the 2023 race, which is our state senators and state delegates, and it's almost like a 0.5 point difference between Republicans and Democrats. So I think all in all, the Commonwealth of Virginia is very split. But the more people that come out, the better it is for Republicans. So I think in 2024, there's going to be a lot of excitement, especially for President Trump. And then you have I'm hoping they'll have an exciting Senate candidate in myself too. I won the primary pretty handily. I won every county in Virginia, all 95, and they called my race within 14 minutes of the polls closing. That's the landslide in which I won by.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. And now you are Trump endorsed and getting more and more attention. Okay, so you said that you were in Loudoun County?
Yes, Loudoun County, yes.
That made national news because the school districts were trying to say, we're not teaching critical race theory to be heavily critical of one race. We're not allowing transgender boys to sexually assault girls in high school bathrooms. And then they covered it up twice. And Finally, parents said, enough. We are done with this. We are voting for a Republican governor. And now Youngkin has done such a great job. He's getting all this credit. And so like you said, things are starting to shift. There's this new excitement. One thing that I've been reading in the news a lot is people saying this phrase that under Joe Biden, the world is on fire. They use this phrase to refer to 2 major wars, Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, soaring inflation, lots of COVID deaths, these forced vaccines that turned out to be crap, a government that is constantly lying about the health and the mental vitality of the sitting president. Why do you think the media is now turning on Biden? And why do you think Trump is trending upward on so many of these issues?
Well, that's a great point. It's just, I mean, the media has been complicit for years, but then now they can't hide it, and they're being asked questions too. So, I mean, I feel like, remember when we were invading Iraq and we had that guy Baghdad Bob, and he's kept telling, "Oh no, we're destroying all the Americans," and you see an American tank roll through the back. It's almost that ridiculous to the point where they can't keep lying to him for him, and so now it's like, well, it's you either eat or be eaten, and so they need to they need to really eat their young on this, which is Joe Biden. And it's great to see them floundering around now because for years it was us going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do when they do this, that, or the other? But now it's really the Democrats who are showing their true hand. I mean, I've been attacked for being, everything from a bigot, a racist, a threat to democracy. Remember, these people were thanking me for my service years before. Now I'm the ultra mega MAGA extremist, like super duper high strength extremists and stuff like that. I mean, they make all sorts of words up to really demonize me and put me in a little box there because they don't know what to do with me. I mean, you mentioned earlier, Tim Kaine and I have had the same paycheck signed by the American people for 30 years. And he has millions of dollars to show for it, and I have scars. So I ask you, who fought for us? It wasn't Tim Kaine. The only thing they remember about Tim Kaine is that he was stuck in I-95 during a snowstorm with a bottle of Dr. Pepper, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, he's a goofy dude. He's just a goofy guy.
Yeah, I remember reading that. And, he literally brought nothing to the Hillary Clinton ticket, which, thank goodness, right? I can't imagine the country under her leadership. You served honorably in the U.S. Navy as a veteran, someone who, served your country, scars and all. When you see protesters in Philadelphia burning dozens of American flags while waving Palestinian flags and screaming anti-American phrases, I mean, how does that make someone like you respond? I know it makes my blood boil.
Yeah, it hurts. I mean, as an immigrant to this country, excuse me 1 second, I'm sorry about this. As an immigrant to this country, I tell people, don't ask for the American dream if you're not willing to obey the American laws and embrace the American culture. I did, right? I mean, I love this country so much, I wrote a blank check to this nation up to and including my life. Now, watching these guys protest, it's hurtful. Because, I mean, that's the flag I carried on my shoulder. I always had an American flag that I carried with me everywhere in combat. And it has the soil, the dirt from many countries. And I was proud of it. And watching them burn it, I mean, it does hurt. But it also tells me that we did our job because they're able to do this and not get shot. Imagine doing that in Pyongyang or in Moscow, you'd probably get shot yourself, So they still have the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I don't like it. Just like I don't like people cursing out loud in a movie theater so my kids can hear it. But the thing is that we did our job and we protected their First Amendment rights. Yeah.
It's still shocking though, like the city, the birth of our nation, and now here they are burning the American flag and hoisting the Palestinian flag. One of the big issues here in Utah, and as I speak with people all across the country, is this invasion of illegal immigrants. You're a legal immigrant. It seems that the Democrats are flooding America with illegals from socialist countries. And I'm reading that may have to do with the fact that they're easier to control versus a free-thinking, freedom-loving American. Do you think there's any truth to that they're maybe trying to bring in a different population that is less committed to American freedom?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely bringing in military-age males from China, Syria, Yemen, right? And, God knows what they're doing over here. I mean, obviously, it's not for anything good. And there in Venezuela, Maduro allowed for all these the prisoners to come here. They allowed for people from the insane asylums. They set them free and send them to the United States. I mean, their crime rate went down 70% this year. I wonder why? Because they sent all the criminals to the United States. And so we need to immediately deport the criminals. I mean, they're all criminals because they broke the law just by coming here illegally. And then we need to stop this endless sieve of money that goes to illegal immigrants. We're paying upwards of $1 billion a day for these illegal immigrants. We can be using that money to offset and pay for Social Security, so people like my mom who paid into for years can still get it. And we need to, and if you stop all the free money, I mean, they get a $5,000 gift card when they come here. They get a free cell phone that we pay for. They get a plane ticket anywhere. They get put up in 5-star hotels with room service. And if you try to take them out, they protest and they come back. They march their way back from tent city. So let's stop that. And if you use things like E-Verify, for example, then and they can't get jobs, then they'll deport themselves also. Because if they can't get work here, don't get handouts, they'll go back. And of course, we need to help the ones that are like hardened criminals, the violent criminals, out immediately. And we need to secure the border.
Yeah. Senator Marco Rubio, who you'd be working with if you win, he was saying this morning on CNN that he's literally going around the country. He's meeting American women that have worked their whole lives. They're getting $900 a month on Social Security. He's then meeting illegal immigrant women who have come up from Venezuela or Honduras, and they're getting $1,500 a month. And he's saying to CNN, how is this fair? How is this good for, the American people? And the person on CNN was like didn't know how to answer it right. But like, I think about your mother who, came here legally and, raised a child. You guys matriculated into the American system. And then there's illegals that are getting more benefits than her. It just seems so unfair.
It is unfair. And not only that, don't forget that there's 80,000 homeless veterans right now. We're putting illegal immigrants up in the Waldorf in New York City. And you have you have men and women who bled and fought for this country who have serious problems. I mean, you can't unsee the things we saw in war. There's some things that the young men and women should never see that I deal with every day too. And we're not giving them help. And some of them are homeless because they don't know how to cope with all the things they saw in war. And yet you're putting people who chant death to America and, like you said, waving the Palestinian flag in these cushy hotels.
Yeah. Now, I don't know a lot about your background, but just as I was researching, your family was able to escape communist Vietnam and come here. Tell us a little bit about that. And then are you seeing signs of communism and Marxism popping up in American life?
Yeah. So, I guess I should have started with my background first. I came here as a refugee from Vietnam in 1975. I was 4 years old, and my parents, my dad was actually the deputy minister of agriculture, so he would have been marked for death or probably sent to a re-education camp. So that night, my mom was sewing notes into our clothes saying, "This is my son. Please take care of him." I had 4 older sisters. I still have 4 older sisters too. And we got to the airport. My parents freaking out because they're like, "Oh my gosh, what if the Americans only took 2 of our 5 kids or 3 of our 5 kids? Who do we leave behind? Who can take care of themselves?" But by the grace of God, we all made it to the United States. But again, with a degree in agriculture, there was not much for my father to do in the United States. And so they said, "Hey, listen, you can make a good life for yourself in West Africa." So we moved to Niger in West Africa, and we lived there for 7 years. I went to French schools there. And then at the age of 12, my parents well, this kid doesn't speak in English because I spoke French at school and I spoke Vietnamese at home. And so my mom and dad had to make another hard decision. My mom took us all back here. My dad remained in these harsh countries like Chad, Cameroon, Zaire, Guinea, and we'd see him every 6 months. But that's what sacrifice is, right? We do that for our family because we want to make sure they have the American dream. And so I went to school here. I went to the top high school in the country, a brand new school that opened. We were first class to graduate. It's called Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. It was the #1 high school in the country. It's in Fairfax County. And because the left changed the entrance requirement, It went from number 1 to number 5 and now number 14 in the country because, they thought there's too many Asians there. There's 75% Asians there. And when they changed the entrance requirement, lo and behold, it dropped down to 55%. And I went to the United States Naval Academy, and I had a master's in physics from Naval Postgraduate School, and I had fellowships at MIT and Harvard. But you know what, Stephen? I paid back every dime of that American dream with 25 years of service in Navy Special Operations. I was a Navy deep sea diver. I recovered John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife, and his sister-in-law. I recovered other aircrafts that crashed in the ocean. And then I also defused bombs for our SEAL teams and Special Forces teams in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Somalia. And so that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Wow. What a life. You bring a lot of life experience. But as you speak with your parents, are they saying, wow, these communist ideas, we're seeing them pop up, or wow, the country is going from center to leaning more left? What is your parents?
Oh, it's communism. I'm telling you right now, it's communism. I've been to 40 countries in my lifetime. I know what communism looks like, and this is exactly what it is. It's not. It's definitely it's not something new that Comrade Bernie came up with, right? I mean, this is tried and true for almost more than 100 years, with the Bolshevik Revolution and everything else. And it's destroyed almost every country that it's touched. And so this is not something new you came up with. This is a tried and failed system. And, they try to call anything from their son communism, socialism, Marxism, and now they call it equity, right? Equity sounds a lot like equality, but it's not the same thing. Equity means that, everybody finishes at the same place, where equality, everybody starts at the same place with the same opportunities. And that they try to change things just so slightly. They like to use words. Like I said, they like to call me all sorts of names, even they try to call me a white adjacent supremacist or whatever. You can't make this stuff up. But this is what they do. And so we need to fight back, because I'm telling you right now, if America fails, there's nowhere else for us to go to. Because I know what it's like to wake up without a flag to stand under, or a country to call my own. I'm not going to let that happen to my kids, your kids, or our grandchildren.
Oh man, yeah, we gotta get you in there. We need patriots like you serving in the Senate. You're going up against Tim Kaine. It's never easy to beat an incumbent, even when they're terrible and have a horrible track record. Why do you think the people of Virginia would be open to having you, and what are some of the advantages or talking points that you want to bring to Washington, D.C. as a representative?
Well, first of all, no one knows what Tim Kaine's done for them. Honestly, the guy has been existing. He never wins an election on his own. He gets pulled up by the bootstraps. So let's dissect this guy. He ran for everything under the sun for the last 30 years. City council, mayor, and then Mark Warner helped him become the lieutenant governor, and then helped him become the governor when Mark Warner left office. In 2008, Barack Obama was going to pick Tim Kaine to be his running mate, but he was so terrible as the governor of Virginia that they passed him over for Joe Biden. That's how bad he was. Wow. Yeah, I mean, seriously, he wrote a budget in his as a governor, and no one, including his Democrats, voted for it because it was so bad. And so, they put him in timeout as the DNC chair. In fact, he was so fed up as the governor, he quit his last year. He didn't even show. He was the DNC chairman his last year as a governor. He just kind of abandoned post. And went and be the DNC chairman, where he learned how to shake the money tree for everybody. And in 2012, Barack Obama helped him be the senator in Virginia. In 2016, Hillary just needed a weak man with no convictions that will go along and do everything she says. He just exists. He's just kind of there. And so she picked him, and like you said, it's not like he brought anything to the table. And of course, they didn't win. And then in 2018, it was just a bad year for every Republican. And he won that without putting up a fight. Now, he is seeing a big fight in me, so he's been attacking everything from my service. Like he's calling me unpatriotic. He's trying to say, when I said earlier that, we've both received a government paycheck for 30 years, and all he has is millions of dollars to show for it. And all I have is scars. Well, he goes around crying, saying, I don't know why Hung Cal doesn't respect my service the way I respect his. I'm like, hold on for a second here. You're trying to equate my service with you being in elected office in an air-conditioned space where the worst thing that can happen to you is a paper cut. And I got shot at, blown up, whatever, in that time. You're thinking we're doing the same thing. I mean, it's the same as Joe Biden out there saying, oh, I've been in and out of battles with you guys. Like, don't forget Joe Biden has screwed up everything he's touched. Don't forget what happened in Afghanistan. I left there in January 2021, and it was stable. And Joe Biden comes in, and everything falls apart. In 2010, Joe Biden was supposed to go to Iraq to negotiate the status force agreement to protect our troops over there, and he failed to do so. And we got kicked out of Iraq, and I saw our forces get picked off on the way to Kuwait every night on Blue Force Tracker. Go back to 1975, his very first vote in the Senate as a brand new senator was to stop all funding to Vietnam, which caused, my native country to fall apart. So Joe Biden, and Tim Kaine, Tim Kaine said that Joe Biden is his ticket mate, right? And he's proud to defend their record. Well, you know what? They can run off the cliff like Thelma and Louise for all I care. Because, I mean, that's what they're doing to America.
Yeah. That's funny that he's like, I don't know why you don't respect my service. That would be like Nancy Pelosi being like, why can't you be happy for me? I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars using insider trading secrets.
That's exactly it. No, they're just so tone deaf. I mean, and that's why Virginians are excited. They have somebody that, look, I told you earlier, I still work, right? I mean, I'm not independently wealthy. I work very long days. I get here early in the morning, I work, and then I campaign in the evening and then on weekends, because what we're saying is some people like, I can't believe you still work. And I'm like, wait, so you're saying the only people that can run for office are rich people? Because that's what you're asking me to do, is stop feeding my family and run for office, and that's just not how it works.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you're providing for your family and also trying to improve your country. You could just be done with the government. And you're not. And, at the same time, I think one thing that people respected about Donald Trump is he was financially in a position where he said, I'm not taking any money from the government. He's the first president to leave with a lower net worth. And then they mocked him. But if you look back on it, you go, wait a minute, this guy actually sacrificed for his country, just like you have sacrificed for your country. And then what do? They drag it through the mud for political reasons. Okay, so in our final minutes together, you've got a book out. Tell me, why did you write that, and what are we going to learn reading it?
So after I lost the election in 2022, I was offered a book deal, and I was like, oh, I don't know if my life's that interesting. They're like, no, we want to hear more about you. And so my wife and I wrote it because she's an amazing writer. I'm not. I'm an engineer and physicist by education, so I like charts and graphs and bullet points. And she made it to something very palatable for the reader. And it's a lot of her hard work also. I mean, we collaborated every day, and it was just fun to do it last year before I even considered running for office. And it just, the timing of it coming out now is just kind of neat. But it is a call to action. It's called Call Me an American because, like I said, when I ran in 22, they called me everything from an extremist to a threat to democracy to a bigot. And I said, you know what? I fought and bled for this country, and I deserve to be called an American. So the title, Call Me an American, is kind of an affront to that woman for her, her ignorance. And, it's really a little bit of my story. You'll understand more of what I stand for and who I am, but you'll also understand what made this country great, right? It's about meritocracy. It's about the American dream. It's about learning how to fail. It's about how to bounce back. It's a call to action. It's also a love letter to our children and to our country. And so it's called Call Me American. It's available everywhere from online to from Amazon to Barnes and Nobles to Walmart or whatever.
Okay, I'll put a direct link down below so that people can check that out. If people want to support you or follow you online, what other links or websites can I push people towards?
Oh, please go to hungforva.com. That's HUNGFORVA.com. I know your reach is nationwide, and that people might not be able to vote for me, but I can definitely vote for them. my vote in the Senate will stop this madness, and we will get our voice heard from all reaches of the United States. And unfortunately, like I said, Tim Kaine was the DNC chairman. He knows how to shake the money tree. But we're much smarter in the way we spend money, and we want to get your voice out there.
Oh, that's great. I will definitely put a direct link down below. Hung, I wish you the best of luck. We need to get you into office, get Tim Kaine out of office, get more conservative patriots that fight for our country and for our families. Thank you so much for your service to our country. I'll put those direct links down below as promised. I hope you have a great rest of your day.